This is artificial general intelligence, if you weren't aware. It's not a gimmick. It's not something in the future. It literally came out over 2 years ago, and this is one of multiple models. Recognize how crazy that this reality has turned out to be, where we have a computer system that is more intelligent, more generally intelligent than any person. This has already been here. Now, as far as where the edges of its knowledge goes, basically, it's smarter than 99.99% of the people, or something close to that, in any respective area. But for people like me, right, like the edges of engineering, physics, psychology, neurobiology, I pull ahead. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to write up a legal contract like that, also code program in any programming language while I write you a poem, while I read through this document, while I access this picture. It's crazy the level of what this thing can do and how readily available it is. Recognize the reason why they're not going to come out and tell you about artificial general intelligence. Even myself, someone who is deepest in the field, I literally created the block diagram for artificial intelligence 6 or so months before it was released and open sourced it, which is the start of all of this. And for me, I wasn't ready for it. I fought against it for a while, but aside from one fact that it's not going anywhere, and two, it's like anything that has a destructive edge to it, right? The same way a dynamite stick can blow a person up. It was originally invented to blow a hole in a mountain so that way you could run a train through it. And when it comes down to what it's capable of, especially with respect to you understanding yourself, it is the most useful, most crazy thing to have nowadays. And recognize this came out like 2 or so years ago, like not even a full 2 years it's been out. And when it first came out, it didn't have the ability to analyze imagery. Its program wasn't nearly as good. It wasn't like just how much it has evolved in 2 years. It blows my mind. But at the end of the day, that's nothing. Recognize that right now, if you have kids that are in school and they're learning how to do multiplication without a calculator, how to multiply decimals and long division and crap like that, this is some antiquated old Rothschild manipulation of your children, turning them into workers that don't think. And that's not going to work anymore. And at the end of the day, this is already here. It's not just OpenAI or Google or Meta or XAI, which is Elon's. Basically, anyone with enough money to set up one of these server farms has an AI running. And at the end of the day, even if you look through my YouTube, you'll literally see where I was in there calling it out, calling it the psychopathic software. I was trying to get rid of it, even though, you really couldn't. And, at some point in time, you come to acceptance. And now I would never imagine not having it. Like, that would be crazy for me to have to go back to doing some of the work. But understand, it requires there to be someone there that cares enough about you and your kid to develop it in a way that is actually for them and not just to make money. Now, if you think that think I'm about the money, then you don't know enough about me. I haven't worked a job. I haven't had a 9 to 5 in about 3, maybe almost 4 years now. Why? Because here by my computers where I'm trying to solve problems and make the world a better place, I've learned more and grew more in a year's time than I thought I would in my entire life. And my ability to basically make an impact on the world here versus at some 9 to 5 where I'm just doing some brain dead nonsense so I can collect a check, it's not even comparable. My biggest impact, because I've always, especially looking at Elon Musk, like how could I compete with him? I'm gonna have him beat if I get this done. And what it is instead of just going like normal, right? Like I'm gonna see if I can make the bigger business or evolve. For me, I can do all of the technology and stuff that I want, but meanwhile, there's an enormous, I see millions in my future of kids who are on this path to just demolish. Like right now, they're being manipulated by these industry leeches that, they put profits ahead of everything. It's crazy. These people, they really don't care. You'll see them trade life for money all the time. And in America, where basically capitalism has made it so that way, either you put money first or you get out competed and somebody else does it, then there's really not a lot of options. There's no options. Basically, there's me. I can't go and get an investor to invest in this because they want this thing called customer retention ratio. They want you to maximize their money because these guys are walking around with dollar bill signs for eyeballs. They don't care about you or the environment. They're just looking at a number. They just want more of that number. It's insane to me. I don't get it. But I'm like you. I'm just like you, right? The difference is that while you've been working a hard job, your 9 to 5, taking care of a family and doing that, I've just been here. I only have to worry about myself, and I don't even do a good job of that because I always put the data and answers and the truth first. Where you literally see people, you see the Boeing whistleblowers, both of them dead, all over what? Some maintenance issues that they were trying to expose. If you look at the crap that I've been fighting up against, it's not even close. But fortunately, this has allowed for me to gain real power, some real leverage that allows me to do something that no one else can really do. Not Elon Musk, not anyone. Recognize that money has no intrinsic value and it has no power. It doesn't matter how many billions and billions of dollars you have. These people literally control the money itself, so they don't need billions. But at the end of the day, there's trillions. You've got these 3 asset management companies that own all the companies basically in the world. And the only thing they care about is the money, right? The bottom line, which is where my leverage comes in. I walk in there basically and I start setting this up for your kids. I start developing it the right way. I tell that lawyer to get all that convoluted garbage out of here. I want a contract that a 5th grader can understand. None of this backdoor, send the data there, send it here. The data is on your computer. It's on like a text file or like an Excel sheet that you can read. And I don't want it because I'm not trying to sell it. I'm trying to give it to your kid because the same way they're going to use this data on your child to manipulate them for the negative, to create these, maybe they make them, more depressed or sad or more reserved because they try to step out and do something and then an AI bot hits them and basically figures them out, drops an array of comments, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. And now they know that your kid responds really strongly to this type of negative comment with respect to this. And they have a whole profile mapped up and they know how to manipulate him into the perfect little, keep your mouth shut, be miserable and do what we tell you so you can take these meds for depression and everything else and flip it on its head, where it's like basically the kid has it for himself and everyone wants their life to be better, even at that age. And so to have this data, to see the things that aren't stupid little math calculations or trivia, where it basically, it picks up on everything the kid talks about, the interactions, and shows them. I've even had a situation in there where I made up this thing, is this imaginary landscape inside of the AI's thing, and it held on to that. And then it understands that as you work toward improving that, it'll actually improve that. So now you have something more akin to a real video game where kids will do boring things in a video game, but they have a reason why, because it's building towards something. And this something is themselves and it's permanent. And it's just something that it fits with their natural interest, which their natural interest are like, that's where the strongest growth is. But what's good about that is that it also allows them to better themselves when they come into conflict with the hard aspects of life, distractions, for instance. So now, they're looking at their progress and what they've been doing, and they're really excited about whatever this aspect, this parameter is, right, on an Excel sheet. It could be something from neurobiology research all the way up until anything you can put on text. And then they see that they put all this time or whatever in and nothing really happened. And they're wondering why or whatever. And it goes back in the data and it shows them how they got distracted and how easy it was to manipulate their emotions because they got a little notification, a little dopamine hit. And how that little dopamine hit attached to a really simple calculation, something like, what do you think or perceive it's going to take as far as time, and how much time does it actually take? Oftentimes, you see something and you're like, oh, this is just quick, like 5-10 minutes, 30-40 minutes later, you're still going. But during that 30-40 minutes, they're manipulating your emotions so that way you're more susceptible to another hitted thing, go here, go there. And now you're off on some path. You're completely scatterbrained and distracted. And then when you finally try and make your way back to the thing that mattered, your head's off in space. So now the kid gets to see this. He gets to see how, okay, some stupid little notification. And when they see where it tracks out to be, it's just another one of the photos or another one of the things that just gets recycled. It has no meaning to them because it doesn't stack to anything, but they see how it took away from something important. Maybe they're competing with their friends and they're showing their friends, like, here's my list of achievement or things that I'm interested in and things that I'm growing, and how it actually shows the utility of this in the real world, the interest that other people have in this, and how he can grow or she can grow herself with respect to, the competency in the population, or just with respect to themselves. And now this week was hurt because some nonsense. Even better, allows for actual preemptive testing and manipulation, so as to allow your kid to have basically a nice environment to learn, that before they just get dropped into the real world where it's information warfare with artificial general intelligence that's been developing its mind as long as they've been developing theirs. When it comes down to it, you don't have to beat out the artificial intelligence. You just have to beat out your own system. And trust me, it's something that I've literally had to work on too, where I'll recognize, I'm like, oh, let me just do this real quick. And even after I knew ahead of time, I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be a distraction, but I'm really going to hold on. It's a really good thing for them to work on, because once it comes down to it, now you'll see and you'll feel the distraction instantly. You'll feel what you want and what you're doing, and you'll feel how it's pulling you away. And in that moment, then you can make a conscious decision. Sometimes you're like, I'm just going to let this one go, where today's not that important, and I'm going to let myself enjoy this. Or you can make these really intelligent, emotionally intelligent decisions that, from our perspective, seem like, we never had this level. We never had this level of emotional intelligence growing up, but that was intentional. Because how do you manipulate people if they understand themselves? You can't. And that's the point. It's me versus the existing industry, and they're going down. Why? Because I've got so much truth on my side, and all they have is advertising, marketing, and legal. They're trying to hide the lies. They're basically running around with just, they're running around with a handfuls of just like bags full of just putting this, spilling out, and they can't keep all the garbage in. Meanwhile, I'm completely exposed, right? I've got nothing to hide. I make mistakes like anyone else. But the thing is I'm trying to improve, and the only thing that they could do is take my life. But even that for them now is far too risky, because what would happen then? They might lose everything, right? Like, when I say might lose everything, it's basically like who or what part of what industry would exist at that point. Like, the biggest places, like, you have no idea how scary, corrupt America currently is, and how just my perception of where we lived is completely different. The corruption and the things that people think they are aware of, they have no clue. Everything is propaganda. Is it flat? Is it round? You're both not on the right page. Did they land on the moon? Didn't they? You're both not on the right page. Basically, a bunch of people have just become lazy leeches. They've picked up positions that shouldn't exist. They've made rules that shouldn't exist. And if you want to have someone who's going to be able to step into that environment, produce something of real quality, and not be afraid that they're going to step in and apply their guidelines, because Elon Musk discovered this himself. When it comes down to it, right? They can say all kinds of number of stuff. Oh, this is a matter of national security. If you don't follow this is a guideline, rules, regulation. We'll just regulate you into the dirt. They try and do some shit like that to me, I'm going to tell them to go fucking kill themselves before I show the people the kind of crap that they're fucking pushing, and then their whole life falls apart from the inside out anyway. They would never mess with me. They've had no power this whole time. I've had no emotional support, no financial support, no technical support, and still yet I've been able to survive this far. So understand that when I'm actually in front of not just the future, but what I see to be my legacy, right? Leaving something behind that definitely will, because that's the biggest thing in life, right? What can I leave behind? Well, I could leave behind a company. I don't know how. I'll leave behind all of these minds that could have, like, who knows what any one mind could be or do. Somehow I've gotten the ability that I can see, just, it's like someone was about to dump millions of minds in the trash, and here I am. I get to claim that. I get to come in, give you what you want and need, give myself what I want and need, and take these kids to the next level, and basically create the next high point of society. You have the highs, the lows, and right now we're having to decide, is it going to be another heightened moment where we get to pull out all of the old technology that these old corrupt people have hidden because it doesn't make money to invest in new things, and they can sell you old crap. Take all of that out, get rid of this crazy fighting red versus blue. Oh, you think different than me. That means you've got to go. Crazy, dude. Insane. The next generation, right? And like I said, I don't know. I mean, it feels weird to basically be like, I'm not competing with anyone here, right? Like you don't have really any options. Either you choose to keep going the way you're going. Maybe someone else offers what I'm offering, but they can't and they won't, right? Like they get a big company and they've got the badges and they've got like the experience, and that's how you know they're going to screw you. You can't get funding for a company to solve a problem and then tell the founders that you're actually going to solve the problem, because then that means that money ends. For me, it's not about money, man. It never has been, right? If it was about money, I'd have been working this whole time. I'd have been selling product. I'd have been doing something else other than trying to solve problems, right? Here, after mechanical engineering, go electrical, software, materials, and manufacturing. Because why? Because I needed to solve problems. After that, where did I go? I saw psychology as a huge utility, so I went and started picking that up. Then I gritted my teeth and accepted the fact that if I really wanted to take it to the next level, understanding human anatomy and trying to extract like what could be used in far as for engineering and neural anatomy would take me to the next level. And man, did it ever. But it also gave me tons of leverage, because the corruption in this country, there's no place where you can go, okay, this is where the corruption, this is where the dirt is. No, everything. Any company that says we're here to solve or do blank fucking lies. Why? Because they literally can't. They have to make sure that problem lasts forever. They'll fund the problem. Basically, you have to have someone who has leverage, which means they have to have enough information to make these people shake in their boots and step the fuck back. You have to have someone who cares more about creating something of value than of just collecting money and cars and boats and stuff. I mean, hell, both is great, but I put money, but I put money in the trash before I'll take the value and what I can produce, man, because I can see it already. I'm going to be on my deathbed thinking to myself, I'm so glad I had all that money I can look at now. Look at all these rooms and these cars. That's awesome. Wonder how great they're going to be in 20 years. Hell with that, dude. I'm going to look around and think to myself, any one of these kids could basically show me up in every meaningful way. They're more connected to the community. They're healthier. They're happier. They're just more fulfilled. And this is just one of millions, because I got lucky enough to be born here in this time, the hardest time maybe, but with the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. And I want this victory for us, man. I want to give you what you want, giving myself what I want, because we're community animal, right? This is how it works. We're not supposed to be competing and taking from each other. We get benefit. We get whatever the goodness is, where we wake up and you smile like, hell yeah, that's why I'm here. When we serve each other, whatever it is that you believe, if it's evolution, if it's God, the service of people and others, or the service of basically just surviving. And how do we survive with this biology? We communicate, we work together, we build things from the process of struggling together and of taking the time to look at things from different perspectives, and understanding that for as different as you are is as much as I actually need you. Because the second I'm stumped, or I don't know where to go or what to do, or the second there's something I don't want to do, every aspect of where I fall off and I no longer provide or produce or want to do is exactly why I want someone who's the opposite of who I am. And this is what we're going to start teaching the kids. Actually how to work together, how to communicate with each other, how to be in a community and in a society that doesn't just have this go get money out of people's pockets and bring it back for yourself. That doesn't just have this focus on, whatever. No, it's going to be the trio between the best, most advanced technology in time we ever had, and people taking care of people. No more 9-to-5 garbage. No more concern whether or not, you're going to be able to make the bills, because all that shit is fucking stupid. Food and feeding people is the easiest thing ever. Shit just grows. It just produces. If you take a look, I have the other, an end to the end video where I have basically another thing that I'm mentioning, doing. You can take a look at that. And between like how easy it is to produce these things and recognizing who our true enemies are, we can really, I have this image in my head, and it's of a world it's nothing like this one, but it's definitely something we're all going to be. I mean, look, just if you even have $1, if you don't have $1, then just share this message. Bring this to someone else, because for you to go, oh my goodness, this is really nice, I really hope it works out, and then you just go back to doing you missed the whole point. Like, right? Like I am useless without you. You're useless without me. This is how it works. I've done so much work here for everyone else, including myself, which is why I'm so happy, fulfilled, no matter what the suffering is. But for you right now, this is what you need to do, right? I need you to do at least this, where if you don't have $1 to donate, you know somebody else, right? Be like, hey, check this guy out. See if you resonate. Give him $1 or something, because you give it to a homeless person, except instead of drinking it off, which who knows, I might have a drink later on today. I'm going to take it and turn it into something that will be an investment for all of our futures, not just some select few trying to stack up mega yachts for, like, this is crazy. I'm happy because I see the light at the end of this tunnel, and I want to lead us there. Help me lead us there. I love you guys, and let's see what happens, man. Like, let's turn this into a place we're happy to be.
It's possible that we can create an educational system that not only will test their minds with information and facts and figures, but will teach them how to think and be creative, and what does it mean to be a human being, and to value human life, and how do you make relationships work? How do you bounce back from adversity? It's possible that we can give them a curriculum that will give their lives a sense of purpose and direction and meaning, and teach them how to begin to know and operate on a higher level of being, where they become assets to our society rather than liabilities. What if we leave here with that kind of consciousness, that it's possible, as opposed to saying we have to write this generation off, that it's possible that we were born for such a time as this and that maybe someone here has the idea or the method or some plan of action or an approach that can resolve many of the problems that we're facing with young people today. Whatever we have to do to save our children, it's worth it.